The skinnier crystals are going to be at the ends, working their way up to the fatter crystals in the middle and the two sides. So when we're looking at the very extremity crystal here, we pull it up and out, and we have the rubber O-ring. You can see its conical shape. It points upwards like a volcano. It also sits in an indentation. So the easiest way to do that is to stick one side in and then work it around, and it eventually will pop into place. What happens here is that when you put the crystal in and you apply a small amount of downward pressure, it's going to expand this ring into the slot to keep the crystal and the holder secured as one piece. That's important for this crystal and the one way over here. The segments that are found on the unit, on the light bar itself, there's one segment more on each of the extremities. So this one and the other side have one segment more than their adjacent counterparts. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which have the same amount of segments. 6 and 7 have, or the two extremity ones, have one segment more. The reason why we did that is so when somebody is on a session and they're laying down, you can actually point these more into the body, and what will occur is, when I get this right, is that they'll still be in line with the rest of these crystals. Some of the crystals are so big, we do not have any rubber ring inside. I had to shave out the inside of these rings, these holders, in fact, to allow these larger ones in place. When we're going to do the initial fit, you're going to open up the case and you're going to see that some of these have rings. And other units do not have rings. Other crystals do not have rings. If there's no ring with the crystal, that means it doesn't get one to sit inside. With this crystal, we're going to lightly place this ring right in here, and we're going to attempt to put this crystal in. You can see that the crystal does not sit. Even when I apply a good deal amount of pressure, it doesn't really sit. So we're going to take this ring out and try it again. We can see that it now sits at the correct height. So be mindful that there are rubber rings to use, and some of them have them, some of them don't. With this light bar, it's really unique because these crystals are really heavy, and so we need additional support on the light bar itself. And you'll see these struts are on the upper portions, which aid us in not only raising it, but keeping the light bar all the way up. In keeping the light bar all the way up. When the light bar is at its fully all the way up, that is where you can undo these. There's a spring, you pull down. So I do it with my thumb and forefinger. Pull down. And then I can undo it. You see in here, this metal piece I'm pulling down is a collar, which keeps it in place. This is a ball, and so this is the socket, ball and socket joint. You pull down, and you get that put in. It's really challenging for me to do with one hand. So we have one of these still on and one of these off. This will work fine without these in place. It feels a lot better to have those set up. It just gives a little bit more assurance on my side that this light bar will never come down on its own or start to sag. Oops, where are we? That one came out really easy with one hand. Maybe I'm right-handed. And because these are so close to the middle, when it goes down, you can see that they smack up against the lower strut area, which prevents this from fully closing. When the unit itself is fully up against the wall, that's as far back as we can get it. What I recommend is that when this is not in use, just leave it all the way up, out of the way, and you can walk underneath. You can walk underneath this without hitting your head, and it gives you the most room.